last panel for today, which is going to be a very interesting panel. We'll be looking at future technology and how that affects the energy sector. So digitalisation and digital transmission are very high on the agenda now. So having gone through COVID, I think we've all learned to deal with technologies. Some of us have difficulty, including our moderator, but I'm not going to talk about that. But but it's definitely come onto the onto the landscape since we've gone through COVID, having Zoom meetings and other virtual meetings. I mean, that is something that I think will continue going forward, and I think all organisations will have to adopt and embrace this new technology that we're going to have to deal with going forward. So this will be a very interesting panel discussion, and we've got some very experienced and knowledgeable people on the panel who help us understand that far better, and particularly in its relation to solar. I just want to do a bit of a plug for BCCT and the Department for International Trade in UK. You all know that we've signed the free trade agreement with Turkey, so that's a big achievement and allows us to go forward with a strong platform to not only continue our existing trade relations but also enhance them over the next 2 years. So that's very positive. We also have a tech conference coming up, the UK Turkey Tech Conference, which will be on the 16th, 17th, 18th of February, which will be dealing with technology in all sectors. But one of the main focuses will be on green tech, and we'll have experts both from the Turkish tech sector and the UK tech sector speaking on that 3-day conference. So, as I say, it is very high on the agenda, and we've got COP26 coming in Scotland this year in November, and Turkey will be represented there. So we want to be interesting to see how technology is discussed at that particular event. So I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to hand over to Yit to introduce his panel, and I may interject with a few questions as we go through, but I will leave it to the experts. So over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christopher. Thank you very much, the organizers, for such a great event. And hello, everyone, once again, and thank you for following us. And welcome to our panel in relation to solar investments in Turkey and the rise of digitalization and technology to improve the solar sector. I'm a banking, finance, and merger acquisition lawyer at PLCC Attorney Partnership, and we will have a great chat today together with the distinguished speakers from Kalyon team and from Solarian team. And we would like to discuss especially how technology can improve the profitability for sponsors in terms of their solar projects in Turkey. And luckily, Turkey and international banks welcome sponsors in relation to their financing of renewable energy facilities, which do include solar projects. So we also believe and understand that technology helps a lot in terms of construction of solar power plants, for which there are strict rules and regulations under the financing scheme provided by local and international banks. And we experience in practice as lawyers that sponsors would like to have certain flexibility in terms of revenue sharing and payments made within the group companies if the EPC contractor is one of the group company of the borrower. Therefore, if technology and digitalization methods are applied well in the solar investment projects, then we believe that the profitability would be much more appealing to lenders and the sponsors. So we have two distinguished speakers, one from Kalyon team. We have Peter Fatt, who is experienced for more than 25 years, and who is a chemistry and physics doctor, and assists Kalyon team and also assisted other international organizations at the level of directors and CTO and COO. And we have Orçun Başlak from SolarU team, who is a managing director, who is an engineer and assists companies in relation to their renewable energy investment. So thank you very much once again, and I would like to start my questions with Peter Bey in relation to how you see the potential in Turkey in relation to solar investments if you compare it with Asia, and how do you see solar product manufacturing and power plant EPC supply in Turkey?
Thanks a lot, Digit Bey, for your kind introduction. So my name is Peter. I'm the CTO of Kalyon PV. And just quickly introducing Kalyon PV for those people who don't know. Kalyon PV is an integrated solar manufacturer. And of course, by Kalyon Holding, we are also running a 1.3 gigawatt power plant. So we have a 500 megawatt integrated solar factory in Ankara, which is consisting of ingot, wafer cell, and module production. So it's a fully integrated factory under one roof. And as we decided to invest in the phase 2 investment, in summer we will be a 1 gigawatt. We will come to the 1 gigawatt league. So in summer, from summer on, late summer, we will produce 1 gigawatt of solar module cells accordingly. Then we have the 1.3 gigawatt solar power plant in Karapana, which is the largest power plant in the area, including Europe. So that gives a certain implication on your questions. Do we believe that Turkey can be one of the leaders outside Asia in manufacturing an EPC contractor? And I have to say, let us look at it in a systematic way. What do you need to be successful as a manufacturer and as an EPC contractor? For manufacturers, you have 3 ingredients which makes you successful. You have to think, can we get it in Turkey? First ingredient, of course, market. Do we have a market in Turkey? Do we have a market in the region? Do we have a market in connecting countries to Turkey? That we have to look. And we have to clearly say, the Turkish market, domestic market, is developing, and your government, the Turkish government, is making a strong commitment on having solar as one of the pillars of the Turkish energy production of the future. Not taking oil from Arabian countries, but make your electrical energy yourself. That is a strong commitment from the government. Then, what else market we can serve from Turkey? European market. The European market is the second largest market in the world. So this year it will be around roughly 25 gigawatt in size. We have local manufacturers in Europe, which are about altogether so many, perhaps 6 gigawatt, but all of them are quite small. And then, of course, we have Africa, which is very close to Turkey. There are good political relations. And we have the former Soviet Union states, which are also very close connected to Turkey. So that means market, we can clearly say we can serve so smoothly from Turkey. Number 2, can we get a good cost structure in Turkey? If we set up this factory like we have done already, and we showed it, we can do it. We don't, of course, it's a hard work, but you can make a factory. Cost structure, number 1 is keeping the factory at full capacity running, having a good labor cost structure and a consumable cost structure. As you know, in Turkey, you have very good consumable providers like glass provider, like foil provider, like frame provider, like junction box provider, and others. So that means the key biggest cost factors in Turkey are local. And the labor cost as compared to European countries and non-Asian countries is I would say very competitive. So that means our cost structure can be quite competitive. And keep in mind, there's now one aspect which people forget too much. If the competitors are in Asia, all of us know that Chinese are so big. So what is the biggest problem now is logistics. Because as you know, our module cost is always at a low level. Let us say we are at about 28 cents per watt peak. But the transportation cost from China for such heavy glass goods is about 10% of the cost on site. So that means our, let us see, margin is 10% because we are on site. We don't have to transport heavy modules from China to here. That is a premium which we have in Turkey. Then the third, do we have good people? As you know, Turkey is a very well developed state. Our engineers are really top class. So you can get by good Turkish universities, you get well-trained people, you can train them, they don't have to be from the sector. So that means we can run that factory at high quality level and high technology level. So that means, as a short summary, all ingredients of a good manufacturing soup to serve the biggest markets and the second biggest markets in the world are in Turkey. So my clear statement is, Kalyon PV, our top management made the right decision to let Kalyon become one of the leaders in the sector outside Asia. Number one. Number two, EPC. Can we be successful in EPC business? Because we just not want to make modules, we want to generate more value for Turkey and for Kalyon. Of course, we have so strong construction companies in Turkey, and they're very successful also outside Turkey. So that means for making a solar power plant, you need a good, strong, well-organized construction companies. And that they are so vastly available in Turkey. And Kalyon, of course, as you know, there's the largest or one of the largest in Turkey. And also for EPC, we need mounting structures, which are based on metal. We need concrete work. We need, of course, labor and smart cabling, smart interconnection. Can we do it? Of course. In Turkey, cable are available, electrical mounting structures, steel work is available at a very good cost level. So that means by the already existing construction knowledge, EPC knowledge, very strong also outside Turkey, plus a good cost structure from the things which we need to make a solar power plant, also makes a good soup. That means by looking at this out of Kalyon perspective or out of the Turkish national perspective, Turkey should really concentrate on solar production and EPC business and to serve the nearby market, the European market, the second largest in the world. And that for a country like Turkey can be one of the big shows, the big pop-ups. Turkish government want to go into electrical vehicle production, and another very strategic pillar of the Turkish economy can be solar. So I have to say, yes, we should do. Turkey should run to become the leader outside Asia.
Thank you very much for your nice explanations and information provided so far. So nice to hear that Turkey is one of the best countries in terms of solar investments, in terms of costs, revenues, or labor, etc. So now I would like to add more in terms of understanding how technology could further things and further improvements on solar power plants. And when we say technology, what should I understand? Or should they? What are the technological or digitalization items for solar projects that your firm and your peers establish and provide to the sector?
Yeah, hello, my name is Orçun. I am the co-founder. Can you hear me, by the way?
Very well.
Yeah, okay. I am the co-founder and managing director of Solarian. Solarian is an engineering and consultancy company founded in Turkey, and we are offering services for solar investors in Turkey and in neighboring countries. It was, I think, 2008 when I started in the sector, and back then you can just buy the whatever module you have in the sector and use a basic installation, and the meter I mean, the energy meter was your only option to see how much you are producing. However, now it's 2020 and Turkey has installed almost 7 gigawatts of solar power plants. We had very good examples and we had very bad examples. And while installing this capacity, we have developed technologies that I think in some cases superior to European peers. And given those technologies such as east-west applications, DC overloading, and SCADA systems, especially in SCADA systems, Turkey has come a very long way. We can increase the yield of the power plants. It's not, I mean, of course, the technical things like the modules, the inverters, etc., are increasing their yield, but also, especially for some firms that we are offering our services, we have reached a stage like, I mean, the operational excellence is, I mean, almost inevitable. We reach availabilities of 99.8 per year nowadays. So this adds a huge value to our companies, and those companies are also willing to invest in Europe or in other countries. While deploying those technologies, we use machine learning mostly, because I mean back in 2008, 2010, you had an inverter and it had like 8 or 10 strings. So I mean that was the normal. Now we have central inverters, like in Kalyon's case, it is 1.3 gigawatts. I can't recall the number of strings, but it's a lot. So basically a person by himself or 10 people, I mean, they cannot manage it. You need some sort of data management system. It's not like the old SCADA systems we had in old some sort of power plants, but it's a system that learns and that adapts according to the shadings of the modules, according to losses on the cables, according to the losses on the inverters. So we developed such technologies, and those technologies are currently being tested and used in Turkey. This will also aid the EPC contractors that are willing to do work overseas or abroad to increase the yield. Because when we do the bidding process, one of the key items in the bidding is what availability do you offer? What are the PR ratios do you offer? I mean, today before this conference, I had a 2.5-hour call regarding what should the PR be and how should the availabilities be. So in order to be competitive at those metrics, you must have a good technology. You must know what type of items you are going to use. And I think in that sense, Turkey is very digitalized as of now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, that's great to know that Turkey is also developed in terms of digitalization and technology for renewable sector. So after this general information on technology, I would like to learn as to which options for digitalization and technology Kalyon team are keen to use or Kalyon team is adapting for its renewable projects, Peter Bey.
Okay, so what we can say is by the help of digital technologies, we have decided to apply it in a very strong manner in our factory, in our power plant. So first, starting with the factory, we have a full workable manufacturing execution system, which is connected to our SAP ERP system. So that means all machines, all offline, inline, all characterization, all production machines are connected to our manufacturing execution system. So we are connecting each and every parameter in our factory from each machine, from each quality control tool is connected, and we are doing analysis, data analysis to why we are doing it, to see the uptime of the machines, to see early moments of preventative maintenance to be happen. We are seeing yield curves, so we are seeing this night shift, the yield is going down, why it's going down, and can react very fast. So that means by this manufacturing execution system and connected to the ERP system, we can keep our factory at high performance level, high uptime level, high yield level, high quality level. That in this sector, because we have hundreds of machines, you can only do when you use a very aggressive digitalization approach. So we have implemented this very advanced MES system. Then order management. If an order comes from the ERP system, we can directly guide it to the manufacturing execution system and can see how this order flows through our factory and can make prediction what material we need, do we have enough stock material, how we can manage it. That helps us to be very fast and very effective in our order management. And as I said, to keep the factory running always at high performance level. Then another thing which we applied is tracking. So that means since we have the connected power plant and later on, of course, customers, which we will supply big volumes, we are tracking our quality, we are tracking our products. So that means we are making our silicon wafers. We know at the end which module, which type of cell, which shift, which moment in the factory, which wafer, which ingot. So that means our module is very transparent and we know very accurately what products, what process, what type we have done to make this module. And then we give the module a barcode. And this barcode later in our power plant, we can follow up the history and the story and the performance of such module. So that means over the full value chain, including the biggest power plant, one of the biggest in the world, we know all the time if we have any problem in the power plant, perhaps there might be some degradation, some breakage, whatever, we immediately can make a very aggressive root cause analysis and can find out where, at which moment this perhaps mistake happened in the production, in the logistics, in the transportation or installation. So by this way, I believe we can avoid, we will learn very fast, and then we can go to the next level of digitalization, which is already in our R&D roadmap, to make use of artificial intelligence and to analyze by big data mining our whole data bunch and to also find hotspots of improvements. And then the third level, which we also have in our R&D roadmap, is machine learning. Because so far our machines, I mean, in the sector generally, it's not Italian machines only, they're not intelligent. So we need to let the machine become intelligent. That means automation plus sensors plus characterization tool plus machine. They have to connect. They have to see, oh my God, I'm drifting. I have some problem. Please give me some oil. Give me some more gases. And then they can interact with each other, and the machine will learn on itself how to get better and better. And then our last, this is of course the masterpiece, it will take some time, we want to have our whole factory become intelligent. So that means the whole factory will learn on itself. After our machines are intelligent, our factory will become intelligent. And then we are going to the premium, the top class, and then I think our factory will run perfect. Then in the power plant, I also, if you give me one more minute, you get. In our power plant, we are applying the same. So as Arjun was describing, we are using very advanced digitalization system in our SCADA system. So we have full vertical SCADA system, so we can monitor each string, each tracker. We have single axis trackers, by the way, using glass bifacial frameless modules. So we know very fragmented, we know very much in detail which string has which performance. And this will, at the current level, we are in the construction phase, later on help us to optimize, as Arjun Bey was describing very in detail, to optimize our power plant performance. And as you know, we have single axis tracker and we have bifacial. So that means that a system that can be optimized very well by checking the tracker, by moving the tracker, also take into account bifaciality of the product. And I think then we can get into very high performance numbers. And then last, I want to say, even in the construction period, we have our project Build 4.0. There we have using drones flying over our power plant, because you know it's a more than 20 square kilometer of power plant. So we have drones in the construction phase, which are monitoring every day our construction progress. We can see if things are moving in the right direction, if the construction teams keep the timeline. If there's any problem, we can see it. And later stage, we will use that drone technology, which we are further developing later on, also, of course, to check the performance by a thermal camera system. And that gives us from the construction time, we know which module is where. We saw it in the construction, if there was any impact. And later on, when we run the power plant, we can correlate construction related, perhaps some root causes, performance losses, and can see in the overall lifetime of the power plant, always we have the digital twin, we call it digital twin, and we know how this factory will react and how to improve. And if we see some defects, we can find and solve the issue very fast. So Kalion is fully run into Industry 4.0. Digitalization is a must for us. And that, what you said, that is, of course, for Kalion a big chance. Can you imagine you're going to the European market? And you know those Europeans, especially the Germans, I'm German, they're so picky. Always they want to have the best product of the universe. So if you have this advanced quality control, and digitalization and tracking, you can give comfort to the customer. Hey guys, we know what to do. When we ship the modules to you, we know we have the digital twin in our factory, in our MES system, ERP system. Feel safe. If there's anything, we will find the solution. And on the EPC contractor side, as Kalion, if you show this capability in a very advanced, and of course, not only in the biddings, the PRs are of matter, but also showing your technology excellence, that will, of course, convince customers that Kalion and Turkish EPC contractors are the right choice. So that means for our own, for the performance, but later on also for our customers, it's a must. If you don't do this, forget it. Especially in European markets.
Thank you very much. We understand.
By the way, Yiğit, I would like to say something. I've been to Kalyon's power plant, and I had the chance to fly a drone over it.
Yes.
From one side to the other side, it's 13 kilometers. So I jumped into the car with the control in my hand, and the drone was flying. It took it roughly 20 minutes to go from one side of the power plant to the other side of the power plant, and it ran out of battery. So, I mean, just to give you an example of how big that field is.
Yes, I may imagine. I also witnessed for some of I also seen the facility sites of most of the renewable projects, and I understand how technology helps a lot for the organization. And Orçun Bey,
if you allow me to make one addition,
of course.
So I think what we understood, we have to be in this direction. But of course, this needs strong R&D effort. We cannot just say, hey, let us do it, we need it, blah, blah, blah. No, we have to do it. So that means Turkey, especially the government, Turkish government, puts a lot of effort on R&D in solar. And that is very, very needed. So at Kalion, for example, we have invested in about 100 R&D engineers. So Kalion also has one of the largest R&D facilities in Europe, in this area. And that is a must. So that means this is a high-tech sector. It's not just making some, PIDE. You have to really know the story, and you have to invest heavily in R&D. And that is a must. So that has to be more and more put on the table. If you want to be at the leading edge, you have to invest in R&D.
Peter, I mean, can I just ask a question here? I mean, obviously, we're aware of Kalion and how advanced you've become. I mean, I don't know why you're not speaking at our conference in February. I think you should be speaking. But I mean, the area that Turkey is lacking at the moment, particularly relating to solar, is batteries and commercial battery storage. I mean, I'm not aware of anybody that's really moving that forward. I mean, in UK, we have one of the leading organization, companies that are producing commercial batteries, Drax. I don't really come across Drax, and hopefully they'll be speaking at our tech conference. But I mean, we're always interested in connecting with UK companies like Drax. If you or as an interest in that, we can always help with those connections. But I mean, that is the next phase. I mean, you have to have that next piece in order to get it fully working seamlessly.
Perhaps if you allow me, Christopher, to make a comment, and Igit as our organizer, he has to give the clearance. Can I make a comment on storage as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
So for us, solar has one big disadvantage. It only comes when the sun is shining. What a pity, what a pity. Huh? So storage in solar sector is a must. So at Kalion, we have decided to invest in storage as well. So we have already approved a demonstration project to set up a big energy storage facility at our factory and at our power plant. And also Kalion have decided, now we are looking for the right partners in a joint venture arrangement, most likely to become also supplier of storage products. Because that has to come as an EPC contractor. If you just set up the power plant and you don't have the storage capability, you are a little bit running on one leg. So that is already decided, and we are now preparing this demonstration project. And as you know, we are using bifacial, we are using tracker, but we are limited, of course, in the maximum power to be supplied to the grid. So we have to make peak shaving anyhow. And also on the tracker, I give this idea, if you have the battery, they are all operated by batteries in emergency cases, then those batteries to maintain on this big field, it's a little bit difficult. So we are looking more for centralized storage solutions, which has a multifunctional operating the trackers, emergency power supply for tracker, and also having peak shaving. So if you combine it in a smart way, it has a plus plus. So storage is a must, and Kalion is running into storage as well.
Well, as I say, to both of you, to the audience as well, I mean, if there's any interest there, I'm here. Please drop me an email, and we can have a discussion on how some UK companies may be interested in that.
Super.
Thank you very much, Christopher, for your great input. Actually, Orçun Bey, Peter Bey mentioned that Turkey has low labor costs for solar projects. So, in terms of the development of technology, do you believe that technology contributes in Turkey for low labor costs? And while answering to that question, I would be also happy to hear from you as to how you see the future of solar projects in Turkey when you make a comparison of capacity, regulation, marginal risk, etc.
Well, regarding R&D, yes, Turkey has a low labor cost, and you can benefit from this low labor cost in production. But for R&D, you need good engineers. And in order to have good engineers, you have a field that people are actively working. I mean, it's not just an effort of one company. Well, one company can do very good things, but I mean, you need a combined effort. So in that case, I mean, given that we have almost 7 gigawatts of installed power plants, I think we have that capacity. Well, yes, Germany has more. I mean, Italy, Spain has more, but I mean, there's well, that might sound kind of personal, but there is something real different about Turkey. People are enthusiastic about things, especially when it comes to solar. I mean, when people ask me such questions, I always give the example of those water heaters. I mean, there is no regulation regarding putting a water heater on your roof. And if you go to cities in Turkey, you will see lots of water heaters on top of the building. So I think there will be a good, I mean, up until now, there has been a very good R&D because we learned from scratch. And from now on, with the Kalion's effort, I think this will just accelerate. Regarding the second question, just Peter Bey mentioned, you need a market. I am also one of the founding members of Solar 3 Gigawatt Initiative. It's an organization where we aim to assist in Turkey installing 3 gigawatts of solar power plants in Turkey. So, okay, first thing is you need a market to sell the modules, to install the solar power plants. And what are your barriers? Regarding solar, you have 2 barriers. The first barrier is the capacity, which is the transformer capacity, but this is something that is very easy to solve because you can just throw more money at it and you can just install more transformer stations and boom, there you go, you have the capacity. So this is not really the issue. We haven't come there. I mean, in our current system, we still have the capacity to install solar power plants, and this is increasing over time. And if we reach some sort of transformer capacity, we can easily install more transformers. However, there is this second barrier. I mean, I call it barrier because solar started as something peak shaving. Well, in a country during daytime, since all the factories are open, the power consumption surges. So it makes a peak during the daytime. And since we have a solar power during the daytime, solar basically started by shaving the peak. However, if you keep installing more and more solar power, it will not be a peak shaving anymore, but instead it will be peak shifting. So eventually you will end up with 2 different peaks, which is one before the sunrise and which is one after the sunset. So in order to correctly model this shift, I mean, you have to correctly model this shift because if you keep installing more solar power plants, eventually the prices, market prices of wholesale electricity during the peak times at 1 p.m., the market will go negative, just like it happened in European countries. And you have to shift this. And in order to shift this, you need the battery systems. So we will be installing solar power more and more. And eventually, the free market prices during solar daytime will go down and down. So you should be able to shift it. This is why the battery systems are the inseparable part of solar systems. This is where we are heading. And Turkey, hopefully in the next years, I don't know if any company is going to invest in battery manufacturing because Kalyon's current power plant is current PV manufacturing plant is a very exemplary one. Other than silicon, I mean, yeah, other than the first phase, they have all the phases of solar module manufacturing, and battery manufacturing is also the same. You need the scale to get the cost down, just like we can see in the Turkey. So I don't know if any country has an inclination to do this, but this is the inevitable future for us. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I have actually a question for Peter Bey and Orçun Bey in terms of this technology. If renewable plants, including solar power plants, are financed by the lenders, and from a sponsor point of view, and since you have also worked with the lenders, from a lender's perspective, how do you think that if lenders have certain clauses in the financing agreement requiring an undertaking from the sponsor for compliance with technology and for adaptation of technological measures and development in terms of digitalization, like all lenders do this for environmental and social matters? So how do you believe that if lenders have a condition for lender or have a condition subsequent for borrowers in terms of auditing for technology and digitalization, how do you believe that that will provide more bankability for those projects, or whether this is an interesting idea? How do you believe that it would contribute further or not? What are your thoughts on this? This is a lawyer question. I'm trying to understand.
Orjun Bey, you want to answer first, or should I answer first?
Please, Peter Ray.
So I think, you know, for the financing sector, I think digitalization is a big chance gives a comfort, because digitalization gives transparency. That means if you have a project, a power plant, or even a factory, and you have digitalization, like we described before, manufacturing execution system, SCADA system, that gives a continuous way to report, to show your performance. And of course, lenders are always concerned, can you reach that performance, what you have promised us in the loan agreements? And that is something which, if you have that technology is available, you can easily show, you can give them comfort. And that, I think, it's in the future, it will be even a requirement, I believe, of lenders, that you should have a very strong digitalization approach in your power plant. This is sure.
Thanks a lot. Good to know.
Yeah, actually, I second that. I mean, digitalization is your, well, I think nowadays it's still the only option, because the banks also ask to their engineers for their digitalization technology, because I mean, you will be preparing reports. If you don't have that technology, then you cannot really create the reports. Well, technology has it's like a double-sided blade. So in one way, it helps you to do the things in a more efficient way, and if you can't manage it properly, it can also damage you. So you have to take this into control. I mean, this is not the subject of our current topic, but I would like to give a brief introduction to information security here, because in the power plant we manage everything from inverters to DC combiner boxes to RMUs to SCADAs, etc. They are all connected. So you have all sorts of reports coming to you from very different data sources, but in the end, they are also on the internet. So if you cannot manage them properly, I don't know if you remember the attack on the Iran's infrastructure. It was like 5 or 10 years ago. I don't really recall. It was some sort of a virus that was targeting that specific country. We may have those issues here as well, because recently, in the 7th or 8th of this month, we had an issue in Romania, and whole grid, the employee grid, was disconnected. I mean, Turkey barely made it out. I mean, it was there only 2 or 3 power producers shut off. I mean, the remaining ones just kept going, and we didn't experience a grid power shortage. But this can be much more problematic in the future. So while we are integrating those technologies, we also be sure that we are taking necessary steps to protect our system. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Peter Bey, Orçun Bey, and Christopher. If we have questions, we would be more than welcome to answers. So I also learned a lot from his speech. So thank you very much for these fruitful discussions, and many thanks again.